We've got markets moving higher quickly today, and you might be wondering, how is that possible if we're restarting the war in Iran or things are heating up? I don't know how you want to describe that. Plus, inflation is giving us unfavorable data by the day at this point. So I'm going to make it really simple why the market is still able to move higher here. And then I'll give you kind of a backdrop of what to expect market wide just in the coming weeks. Before I begin, I must remind you this is a financial education presentation. You must do your own due diligence before acting. Anything you hear in this presentation, more disclaimer information can be found on ankerstarwealth.com, and the opinions expressed are mine alone. Of course, this is just kind of a rebound. The market was a little heavy yesterday. I think the S&P 500 fell about 1.6% yesterday, but you're still seeing kind of a resilient market. You're back to those early May prices, sure, but you're holding steady here. It's not, there's nothing too explosive to the downside. I think the market barely touched a 4% drawdown, in this little sell-off here. So the reason being that Anthropic, and this is my read on it, right? So you might get different opinions, but Anthropic did release a few different publicly available models this week. And this is back to that AI rally. So what's going to be more important? Is it going to be the Middle East? Is it going to be oil? Is it going to be inflation? Or is it going to be the rapid advancements or perceived rapid advancements of AI? So according to Anthropic. Now, of course, look, we're on Anthropic's website. I mean, is Anthropic going to publish some bad stuff about their own models? Probably not. So you might need to, just be mindful of where the information is coming from. It's coming from Anthropic, and they've been known to inflate or use kind of hyperbolic language in the past to manipulate narratives and then raise money accordingly, because they ultimately are trying to raise money. But according to them, and from what I can tell, reading other things on the internet, these are very impressive models. And then again, according to them, the model performance is better than better than like Opus 4.8 in every category, and in many cases significantly, which also would open the door from a perception standpoint of, are we still getting better? Are these things still getting better, and will they continue to? So that we're not at the ceiling yet. We're actually still climbing the ladder, and then we get to use our imaginations about where these things will go next. So that's kind of the excitement on that. People are raising money and continuing to invest in AI, and it's like, well, you can't sell, the narrative can't be over until it's actually over. Now, to that point of companies raising money, we did see a few weeks ago, Google was the first one who used a specific new capital raise idea. They saw what SpaceX were doing. We highlighted it on the show. They saw SpaceX going public, and they wanted to capitalize on this investor enthusiasm by raising a bunch of money, 40 billion of which coming from new just public market equity. They're doing out another 45 billion through private placements and things like that, but 40 billion of just fresh stock. So you've seen Google stock selling off almost every day. What's it doing today, right? You're down 2% because Google is dumping. This is what happens, right? You're sitting up here at 390 or so, and now you're down at 350 because Google's dumping right now. They're dumping 40 billion of new stock on the market. Well, the buyers and sellers, they had their own equilibrium, So when you introduce a new $40 billion seller, Google itself, you're not going to be able to find the same equilibrium. The price is going to have to moderate a bit lower. They also gave Berkshire 10 billion at a discount from that price. So then the market's like, well, if Berkshire gets a discount, maybe we're not willing to pay these higher prices either. But then the copycats came. Meta came along. Meta We don't know how much Meta wants to dump, but I think Meta's stock was up at, let's see, Meta stock was here around 620 or 630 when they announced their intentions. Well, they didn't actually announce, but it leaked that they might do the same thing. They think Google's very smart for jumping to the front of this line of taking money from public markets in this way. So then Meta floated the idea that they'll do the same, and their stock has kind of been crushed ever since, from called 630 down to 560. Super Microcomputer, look at this one. They announced 2 days ago that they might dump 7 billion in fresh equity on the public markets, and their stock is down 34% in like the last week. So now it's starting to switch. Google was the first one to come up with this idea, and when they did, the market was like, okay, we're going to ding you a bit, but we understand. And then Meta, the market is thinking, no, you don't get the green light. A Super Micro, 34% down in a 3 days. Super Micro does not get the green light. So, and then last night, another one. Oracle announced last night, you know what, we might go ahead and dump 20 billion in fresh equity on the open market as well. And look, the stock is down 18% in the last week. So Google got in the door first. Have you ever seen that there's like a video of these kids and there's these water fountains, and the water fountains are spraying over and the water fountains stop spraying. So the kids watch for a minute, and one of the kids is like, okay, there's no water, I'm going to run through. And so they run through, and then when the other kids see the one kid run through, they start to run through. And inevitably, there's the last kid to decide the coast is clear after everyone else has made it. So he goes to run through, and the fountains turn back on, and he gets soaking wet. So this is kind of one of those things. Google was the first one to run when the coast was clear, but now everyone trying to copy them, the markets are not welcoming these large equity sales from them. Who else will be next? I don't know. And what does Meta actually announce? I bet Meta does go through with this. So I'm very curious to see what that looks like and how the market will respond. Now let's just jump over to the market, the S&P 500. We obviously had a big rally off of the March lows. My suggestion here, and again, this is I don't know your personal financial situation, and this is just a financial education presentation, but my take here is just hold tight here for right now. I did announce a couple weeks ago, I had the video of I wasn't buying, right, just kind of stacking up cash. So kind of a similar mindset here. I don't know that we're going to get a large drop, but man, these companies are dumping lots of equity on the market at this point, particularly Google. And I don't know if Supermicro will even be able to go through with it because they got hit so hard. We'll see. And then Oracle as well. I mean, my goodness, it's kind of a bloodbath over there right now. While we're waiting for the SpaceX IPO, while we're waiting to digest all of this fresh equity that these companies want to drop on the public markets, I'm not sure that you're going to get a decisive move higher on the S&P 500 in the short term. It's actually very, very encouraging if the market can kind of stay within 5% of that high, given all the new equity being dropped by some of these companies. So that's kind of where we're at. Probably going to be a little bit range bound, and a decisive move higher would be incredibly bullish. And then, some softness is expected because these companies are extracting lots of cash right now from public markets for AI. And that's why you're seeing AI continue to remain a prominent theme, while the market knows these companies will have the cash to keep building the data centers. So it's not over yet. And inflation, oil, that stuff, the Middle East, none of that is going to end up being as important as data centers are right now in terms of where the market goes next. Hey, I hope everyone has a wonderful day. And of course, look forward to talking to you soon.